Hey, 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 everybody. Welcome to a very informal episode of the Grossman Files. So, I don't know how this is going to go. I don't even really particularly care. But today's my last day of being able to have the freedom to come out here and spend some time with the fans. And I absolutely love doing these freaking YouTube lives. I've become addicted to it. It's so much fun hanging out with you guys while I'm taking my walk, riffing on Sam and assorted matters. Assorted and sordid matters. SORDID. And so today I figured I would do something that I've never really done before. And we'll see how it goes. If it absolutely blows and is a disaster, I'll just delete the stream. But figured we'd hit you up with an Ask Me Anything as we walk and talk in Cortlandt Park. And seeing as there's nobody watching right now, it's kind of hard for people to ask me stuff. But maybe as I can carry on, more people will come in. So I've been getting some comments like, yo, how come your shit looks like it's 8mm? What's up with the shakiness? Yeah, I know. It's totally old school, low tech, low quality style. Not what you're used to, I know, from the G-Man, Grossman Files, with the big looking videos and stable cameras and good audio and all that kind of crap. But I haven't bought a stabilizer for my cell phone. I don't have my equipment. It's all on a boat coming back from PR. And so all I have is my crappy Android cell phone. And so that's the way it's going to be. So yesterday my video is Berkey Bye. Actually did really well. Close to 700 views by now, which is pretty good. You know, we're not getting the numbers we used to. I don't expect it. Do I care? I guess a little bit, because I realize that interest is dropping off. But it's dropping off for me too. So we're all in the same boat. And plus, really, how much more can I talk about in this topic called Son of Sam? We covered everything. In fact, we got you a new victim. And of course, introduced you to the possibility of Berkowitz being the Bronx Sniper, which is awesome speculation and something that we're allowed to do. We're allowed to speculate. Today I saw a comment by Paul Berger. This guy's like obsessed with trying to debunk Wendy Savino. I don't know why, Paul. First of all, I don't know why. Now he says, he's answering the question as to why he uses a false name. He goes, my middle name is Hart. I don't use my full name on there, just like you, Manny. No, I use my real name. I've been known as Manny Grossman since basically my first week of existence. The only time I was ever called Luis for the first time officially was in 7th grade when I went to junior high school 141. And they said Luis Grossman on the first day, and I didn't even answer to it because that's not my name. I mean, it is officially, but I never use it. So I've always used my real name. But this guy uses his allegedly first name and middle name, but doesn't use his last name. So I don't understand why that is. You should be proud to use your real name. I don't understand why people don't. I'll give it to Eric Galati. At least he uses his real name. I don't understand why the lunatic and mentally unwell Chris Claw from Olathe, Kansas. Oh, I used her name. I'm going to get another cease and desist letter. Go to my post section. I put up her latest cease and desist letter. Maybe I'll just turn this into an open letter to the lunatics as we wait for people to come in and ask questions about about Sam or Netflix or any other questions you may have. So this guy, Paul Berger, who mysteriously goes by the name Paul Hart, I don't understand why. He goes, oh man, he's interested in forensics, but he's the guy who said that Berkowitz shot Wendy because she had a pixie haircut from Rosemary's Baby. First of all, I never said that definitively. These people don't watch my shit. Like, I watch everything they do so I can comment intelligently on it. Even though I think it's ridiculous, I watch it. I never said he did that for sure. Berger, that he shot her, definitely. It was a speculation show. These people get hot and bothered when I speculate. I guess that's a good thing because I'm always so factual that when I speculate, they think I'm like making stuff up. But I'm speculating, I'm allowed to. I'm a Son of Sam researcher and theorizer. So it was just a show I did about, because Berkowitz was obsessed with Rosemary's Baby. And so I theorized. I didn't say it was forensic evidence. God, these people are dumb. Paul, I thought better of you. I really did. You used to be a good addition to the Grossman files back when you were sane and hanging out with not hanging out with the mushheads. He used to send me good articles. He helped me out with Arliss Perry, realizing that was a hoax. He found articles that Berkowitz was sent by D Channel. It was good stuff. I mean, he's a newspaper researcher. He doesn't actually go out and do anything except look at newspapers. But he's all hot and bothered against Wendy. He says, Joe Savino was a mobster and she was shot to send him a message. What message? What family was Joe Savino in? What was his rank? Was he a capo regime? Was he a consigliere? Was he a capo di tutti capi? You never heard of this guy until I brought him up. Let's see what people are saying. Craig Fitzg still working on that book. Craig Fitzgerald, wow, you're going way back. Poor guy. I loved that dude until one day he just went off. I don't understand what happened to him. He got into beef with Neo, told me he was gonna find Neo with an AK-47 and shoot him on Lake Avenue. And then he got into a beef with Eric Galati, calling him a Nazi. So I had to let the guy go. He was too erratic. Poor guy, but yeah, I think he's still working on that book. Are you in touch with Detective Lorenzo? Shay Man asks. I was always impressed with his police work and enjoyed his story. Yes. Detective Mike Lorenzo and Robert Klein, Detective Robert Klein, are the last men standing in terms of the people that I both work with and the people that I trust fully 100%. I put Book Club Warrior in there, 22. Book Club's a good guy. He has his own thing going on, and he never likes to really come out publicly. But we had some great conversations while I was in Puerto Rico, and he knows the deal. But yeah, Lorenzo, I just got in touch with yesterday. I used him as a reference, personal reference for something that I'm doing. And great guy. I mean, and you're right. His stories were amazing. He's a freaking superstar. I tried to Peacock got in touch with me from NBC. Peacock, I think they're Peacock, Universal, I'm not quite sure. But when the Wendy story broke, I was contacted by a producer from Peacock. I really screwed myself on this, actually. Just showing you what kind of person I am. They wanted to do a documentary because they were so blown away by the Wendy story, so convinced of its accuracy and veracity. See, the people who matter, the police, Netflix, Joe Berlinger, Peacock, all these, NBC did a thing, Channel 11, the media, they understood the power of the Wendy story. And, whoa, I'm out of breath. And so Peacock got in touch with me to do a documentary, and I said, no, I can't. I'm contracted with Netflix. I can't do anything. Actually, I was contracted with Radical Media. I can't do anything with you guys because I'm loyal to them and I'm contracted. I'm not allowed to do anything until the documentary comes out. And so I lost that opportunity. I was under the understanding that Netflix was going to come out much sooner than it was. So I thought that after it came out, I could then parlay that into working again with Peacock. But when I got in touch with Peacock afterwards, the lady was no longer working there. The media industry, as you know, as you probably know, is a very capricious, and people work for places only temporarily. But one thing I did tell her, two things I told her. I said, one, you should watch my stuff with Lorenzo, because you can do a series with me and Lorenzo walking around Yonkers doing stories about police work, and it would be a smash hit because the guy's a superstar. And unfortunately, they said no. And then I tried to shop. I don't think New York City Crime Spot will get angry at me for saying this, but Maria del Carmen, what's up? A live set with Lorenzo. Lorenzo doesn't do lives, unfortunately. Believe me, I've tried. He just will not do a live stream. It's nothing against me or you or anybody, but it's just not his thing. He likes to work with me. We have a level of friendship and trust that really, and an energy that works well between us. So we like to work. He likes to work with me and me alone, and not get the audience involved. Or you see, he rarely ever answers questions. But one thing, I don't think Crime Spot will get angry at me for saying this, because I'm actually gonna say, I mean, this was brilliant. He did an interview with Stax. See, the great thing about Crime Spot, my man Crime Spot, the fellow Puerto Rican Jew, the brother from another mother, and even though he's I think he's about 20 years younger than me, maybe a little less, but we got along great. And I'm very proud of the work we've done together. And in a way, I'm jealous because he often has so many great ideas that I never even think about. And so his whole deal was like going into the sub-characters of Goodfellas. So he interviewed the piano player that played at Robert's Lounge, which I thought was absolutely brilliant move, because these people see things and they have stories that you've never heard of. Whereas Scorsese's interested in Henry Hill and Tommy DeSimone and Jimmy Burke. In 2025, those stories are played out. So my man Crime Spot gets the stories from the piano players. He does a series with Pete the Pick, who was a car thief for Roy DeMeo. He's now doing Frank Pergola files. He was a New York City detective. But one of Crime Spot's pièce de résistances was, I think it's only 2 parts now, but a little series on Stax from Goodfellas. And I highly suggest that you go to Crime Spot's, his New York City Crime Spot on YouTube. I highly suggest that you go seek out his interview with Stax Edwards' nephew. Now, for those who don't know from Goodfellas, Stax was the black dude who got shot because he left the van for the cops to find after the Lufthansa heist. And in that movie, to the extent that he was portrayed at all, he was portrayed as a bumbling fool, a drug-addicted loser who cared more about the bitches than anything. When in reality, Stax was a very deep guy. He was a musician. He was a bodyguard for Muhammad Ali. He was highly educated and smart person. Had a band for many years. And also the interesting fact was he was an African-American dude who befriended and got the trust of Italo-Americans in the New York City Mafia. It's an incredible story. So So I brought that idea to both Netflix and Peacock, and it was turned down by both. I said, you guys, this is a golden story. This is a story, a documentary that will be a smash hit. And both took a look and said no. So I was very disappointed about that. Disappointed for not only New York City Crime Spot, but for the audience, the wider worldwide audience, who would be very interested in a story like that. But whatever. I mean, there's a reason why I'm not a major producer, I guess. Even though we took this Son of Sam thing viral, global, huge, starting from me walking on the aqueduct to me starring in a Netflix documentary. And not saying that somehow I'm special for that, but somehow or other, I was able to tap into something that people liked. And people still like, although not quite as much as they used to. But that's the way it goes. The Ace Frehley video is up over 5,000 views, which is kind of cool. But I knew that going in that would be a smash hit, because people are interested in graves. Hey, there's a bunch of dogs here. Hey, poochies. Hello. Hey, what's up? Rosie's not with you today. Hey.
Oh, you're Rosie's brother.
Yes. Hey, guys. She's home. I'm taking her out at 1. You too. Those people walk my sister's dog, Rosie. So anyway, boy, I miss Puerto Rico. Maria. I didn't think I would miss it this much, but wow, I'm missing the heat, the sun, the life that was there, as opposed to the death here in New York City. And of course, New York City just committed suicide with its latest mayoral election, and it's going to be a shit show. So anyway. So Peacock unfortunately didn't bite at that, and neither did Netflix. And so the Son of Sam documentary came and went, and I went back into oblivion. I knew it was going to happen. I never pretended otherwise. People always love to animate me. Well, I should say my haters. They love to animate me with motivations and objectives and ulterior motives that just don't exist within my being. They were like, Manny thought he was going to be a star with Netflix. No, I didn't. I never once thought that. At best, I thought I was going to get maybe 10,000 subscribers from the documentary, and I didn't. Whatever. I always said that it was going to come and go within 3 or 4 days. And I was very happy with just being in it and just getting that last word in there, getting Wendy Savino's case forever cemented to the Son of Sam case. Whether you believe it or not is irrelevant. Wendy Savino positively identified David Berkowitz as her shooter in 1977. Oh, her husband steered her to it. No, he didn't. He was a cop who saw a pattern of shootings that was extremely similar to his wife's. So he collected newspapers to that effect. He was willing to go on record with it. He wanted to be part of the Gilroy, the Leipzig lawsuit that took place in 1980 that Maury Terry writes about. He had his lawyer write up a letter saying, but his lawyer wrote him back and said, I advise against it because, well, one, the statute of limitations has already run out, so what are you going to get? It's just going to be unnecessary stress for no possible benefit. And there had been no investigation, of course, and even though she told Mario Marola's office in 1977 to go arrest Berkowitz for her shooting, they did absolutely fuck all. They didn't do anything. They ignored her. And that's where I think the true story, that the only interesting story in Wendy Savino at this point exists and lies within that relationship between Mario Marola and her husband, Joe Savino. one of my crazy haters, Chris Claw, said, I once accidentally said talking about this, I once accidentally said the relationship between Wendy Savino and Mario Marola. I meant Joe Savino and Mario Marola. It was just a brain fart and flub that I said, which happens often if you listen to me. I'll say something wrong. Like I'll sometimes say that she was killed, even though she was just wounded. It's called mistakes. They're normal. But this lunatic, Chris Claw, then wrote a whole blog about the affair between Wendy Savino and Mario Marola. I mean, crazy shit. I just posted, normally I don't do this, but there's been a lot of crazy intrigue behind the scenes in the last week that these asshats are trying to involve me in. From Eric Galati to Neo and Rena and that whole nexus. Maximilian Heusler's name is being thrown out there by Eric Galati now. I'll talk about that in a second. The lunatic from Olathe, Kansas, Chris Claw, with her constant cease and desist letters that I just laugh at. Now I'm just posting them on my community posts for people to see how crazy she is. She can go on a video and talk shit about me for 2 hours, making up story after story that doesn't exist in the real world as presently constituted. But the minute I say her name, somehow or other she's put in danger. I was going to get in touch with the Olathe, Kansas Police Department about her, but I decided against it. But I have a sneaky suspicion. that the Olathe, Kansas Police Department is well acquainted with Chris Claw of Olathe, Kansas. It's just a suspicion I have. I don't have anything to back that up. But knowing her and how she loves to report people, I have a feeling that they've dealt with her more than once or twice. So Loki is saying, how are you? I'm doing good. Maria del Carmen says she doesn't have the grounds to do so. Of course not. That's mental illness speaking. That's why I just laugh it off. Maria del Carmen says, weather here is even more pleasant now. Maria, don't rub it in. Do I look like football? No, don't like football in any way. Never understood that game. I'm a baseball guy because it's much more my speed. It's slow, it's deliberate. I can't really diss football because I don't know the rules. But every time I try to watch it, it just confuses me. It's just not my thing. So, someone's asking how I am. I'm doing good. About to start a new endeavor on Monday, which I'm never going to talk about the specifics of. Because, again, these ass hats like Chris Claw from Olathe, Kansas, and Neo, they just live for calling people and trying to get me canceled and trying to get me fired or taken off things. It doesn't work. They come off looking terrible. No matter how many times I say that to them, they still continue. They don't. But that's just, again, a sign of psychosis. I can't wait for the reaction video to this video today. But yeah, I got a weird email from Eric Galati yesterday. This guy is going on Rena and Neo's show. And again, for those of you who are new, Neo was a guy I worked with back in the day. He emailed me like 20 times. I thought he was absolutely nuts, so I never responded to him. But then finally, he emailed me once with saying that he knew a contact in Yonkers that could help me clear a name of Taco Grady, who Maury Terry said was in the cult. So I got into, he wanted to pay me, which I refused. But I ended up meeting his contact, Billy Quinn, whose video is no longer online, because those videos are all fake news. They don't have anything to do with Son of Sam, so I took them all down. So that started a relationship between me and this cat Neo from Yonkers. His real name is Paul Agostino. Another guy, like, why don't you use your real name? It doesn't make sense. But, him and I became like the dynamic duo of Son of Sam for about 3 or 4 months. And I made that dude famous. And he did some good stuff. And I used to praise him to the hilt. Everybody who's been with me since those days remember how much I used to praise the guy publicly. Often to my detriment, I downplayed the things that I was doing in order to talk him up. So now he somehow thinks that he was so much more important. But again, he used the infrastructure of my video series, the popularity of it, to get a name for himself. And he's still 3 years later riding off that name. Now, he only has 60 subscribers. He averages on average, unless he's talking about me, his videos average about 150 views. So like that should tell him that he's not as popular as he thinks he is. But when you're dealing with psychosis, you can't speak rationally to these people or make them understand rational sense. It just doesn't exist in their minds. So apparently this lunatic, so he's an old school person. I used to work with him. I used to work with this guy named Max Heusler, who I got all the Zeman files with. I went up and scanned all the Zeman files with Heusler, Jess Delano, and Carl Denaro. I would have gotten a hell of a lot more had Jess Delano's boyfriend not been a freaking dickwad and constantly telling us to leave because he was. I don't even understand why he was there. Actually, I do. He was very abusive and he wouldn't let Jess Delano out of his sight with men. So he came up with us that day when we scanned all the files. And from the first hour, it was just constant belly aching. Let's leave. Let's go. And so after a while, we left before we were only there like 4 or 5 hours. People say, oh, we didn't get all the stuff because there was an agenda to cover up. No. Blame Jess Delano's boyfriend at the time. The pain in the ass whiner who constantly was telling us to leave. As we sit here in Van Cortlandt Park, let's see. So yeah, so there's like, I got an email. So Eric Galati has been doing shows with Rena and Neo lately, and it's hilarious to watch, actually. You should watch it. Even though Neo used to savage this guy behind the scenes, and Galati used to call him a Gavone. I know his kind of Italian. Like, these are the kind of people that you were dealing with. I never would do this behind the scenes to anybody. If I didn't like you, I just treated you like I'm treating them now. I didn't take you seriously, and I didn't have anything to do with you. But I didn't spend my time with intrigue behind the scenes and talking about this person behind their back and any of that kind of stuff. And so apparently this Chris Claw lunatic is now sending cease and desist letters to everybody. And she even got the mentally ill, paranoid, schizophrenic Jonathan Mitchell, who I call Mythcell, who somehow thinks he's a threat to the Son of Sam community because he knows the truth about Suzanne Conway being the high priestess of the Son of Sam cult. These people live in worlds of threats and lawsuits, and somehow that people were threatened by them and we're scared because the cult still exists. No, I mean, how many times have I said this? No, you're jokes. We laugh at you. I even agree with Eric Galati, even though he's my enemy at this point, and Neo about this lunatic Chris Claw. So even though Eric is talking smack against me on these videos with them, and I don't mind giving them views, it's the only views they're going to get from people who are my fans who want to watch the craziness, just to rage view, or whatever the term is, drama view. I'm not worried about anything else in terms of anybody, like, because they actually believe Berkowitz acted alone. So it's like, so do I, right? And we often use the same source material to come to our agreements. Neo's obsessed. He says that I read his book and stole it. Dude, I never read your book. I was given a free copy when it went around, and I searched for my name. He called me Larry Dunn in the book. It's ridiculous. He spends the entire book bitching about me. And 98% of it is horse shit. He says I was scared to go into the Netto attic when it was my idea to do so. So I didn't read your book. I hate to burst the bubble to you. I don't know. I know you're not going to believe me when I say that, but I didn't read your book. I did all of my work using the files, working with Catalano, Book Club, Ruby, Eric Galati and I were friends way before your book came out. And all my work was done by the time your self-published tome came out. I mean, it's just timing. I mean, don't you understand that? But so apparently now this Chris Claw and John Mithsell are teaming up, sending cease and desist letters and sending emails out and threatening people. And so, I don't know, even though Eric Galati is talking a lot of smack against me, somehow or other, I guess he thought we were friends, because he sent me an email yesterday, 2 emails, one this morning and one yesterday, saying, Manny, I know that we're not on the same side, or whatever he said. I'm not going to read it, and I'm not going to put it out publicly. I don't do that to people, except for Chris Claw with her cease and desist letters, because they're so dumb and so incessant. Manny, this Chris Claw is dangerous. She's sending cease and desist letters to Maximilian Häusler and he's worried about his corporate job and getting fired from his corporate job. And we must all team up together, even though we all are not friends. We must all team up together in order to fight Chris Claw. I mean, can you believe this is what these people are doing? I've kind of moved on in terms of, like, I now have a new profession and I'm starting it on Monday. I'm never going to talk about it or give any details. I'm not going to say where I'm living. Those days are over. But, like, this is, like, I have one more video I want to do, an interview with Son of Sam. I want to do a walk and talk with Bronx Sniper. But after that, like, life moves on. But these people are sitting and I love doing these live AMAs. So it's just cathartic. I enjoy talking. What can I tell you? So he's sitting here thinking that we're going to team up against Chris Claw, the lunatic from Olathe, Kansas, who somehow thinks that when you mention her name, the prisoners that she works with are going to know about it and think she's a snitch and then do harm to her. This mental illness, this absolute lunacy. So I wrote him back and I said, you know, it's funny that you should email me, considering all the smack you're talking about me with your new friends, Neo and Rena, Eric. And I said, and besides, I don't owe you anything. I said, I'm not worried about this Chris Claw. I laugh at her. I make fun of her. I think it's a joke. And second of all, I don't owe this guy Maximilian dick. Max Häusler, I don't like the guy. He doesn't like me. I don't care about his corporate job. I'm not here to save Maximilian Häusler's corporate job. If he gets fired, welcome to the club. I had my entire business destroyed because of lockdowns. I got fired from NYBG because I told the class that Bill Gates was buying farmland, and a Karen told on me. And I was fired by my Karen boss without being given a second chance. Do you think I care about Maximilian Häusler's corporate job being at risk? I don't give a shit about the guy or his job. You guys deal with Chris Claw on your own. And if Jonathan Mithsell, the paranoid schizophrenic Asperger's dude, is sending you threatening emails and letters, well, if you're that concerned, go to the cops. Why are you coming to me? What am I going to do for you? First of all. And second of all, you guys are talking shit about me. I'm going to now help you? You out your motherfucking mind? It's ridiculous. So Eric's living in this weird world where he can, because I look at everything, Eric. I'm watching you. You even compared me to Chris Claw. You said we were two sides of the same coin, the same person. Not literally, but we operate the same way. But now all of a sudden, the next day, you're going to send me an email saying, we must work together. Chris Claw is dangerous. Does Rena and Neo know that you're sending me these emails? Again, I'm not going to publicize them. You asked me to keep them private, and I'll keep the bodies of those emails private. But I'm under no obligation to keep the exchange private, especially since you're sitting there allowing these people to psychotically lie about me and everything that I've done, and you don't say boo. So when you start showing maybe a little bit of loyalty to the only friend you ever had, Eric, even when we stopped talking, I was still your friend. The reason why I went against Eric was because I was so burnt out from our Howl series and our Seton Park Dome series that I needed some time to myself. And so I didn't call him for a week. Maybe I didn't even answer his phone call when he called, and he went ex-girlfriend on me. He all of a sudden started talking smack, and then he put out all the Maury Terry files that I had shared with him secretly. And he says they were called Maury Terry shit, and I was so offended at that. That's one of the reasons I had to put him out. No, it was just MT shit. It was just the stuff. Shit equaled stuff. It was MT stuff, Maury Terry stuff. And so I named the file MT shit. I named it the day I got that stuff, MT shit. Because shit is stuff in modern day parlance. Yo, that's my shit, yo. When I got Maury Terry's stuff from Zeman, I literally thought that I had solved the case, because I was the hugest fan of Terry at that point. I was convinced that when I got those files that was it. And all it led me down was another road of confusion, where I realized, how could all these people be involved in this conspiracy and the cops never knew about it? And besides, Maury Terry in his witness list writes all these people's names and says not contacted, not yet interviewed, not spoken to. And then I realized he's using Vinny and Danny. He's using Alex Verone, a child rapist, as one of his main contacts. And then I realized that Billy the Artist was fake. And then I look at all the police files that I had, which were part of the original file sharing that Zeman gave us. Those are the ones that ended up on, mostly the ones that ended up on People vs. David Berkowitz. And I realized that we had been hoosed. So I changed my mind on Maury Terry. Very simple. People even say that I'm not allowed to change my mind, that I'm a liar, because at one point I talked about Maury Terry being truthful. But that's just the journey of discovery I was on. So anyway, I probably shouldn't even talk about this stuff. Ricardo Suave. Man, he changed the Son of Sam world forever. He did more for this than anyone. Thank you. I appreciate it. Just Stop says having friends is overrated. I only have 2 friends now. 2 real people that I'm confidant. Well, 3. Detective Robert Klein, Detective Mike Lorenzo, Book Club Warrior 22. And I'll add John Catalano into the mix there, even though we don't talk much anymore, and certainly not about Son of Sam. We're still brothers in arms on Son of Sam. Ricardo Suave, I'm so proud of you for getting Wendy her justice. You solved the case from the 70s all these years later. It's truly incredible. Thank you. Well, we didn't solve it, actually. We just brought attention to her case, although I appreciate the heads up. And of course, we got her taken seriously by law enforcement, which was huge. Hey, what's up, guys? People are all working here, building trails and whatnot. Let me wait a second to get past them. Hey guys, how are you? But yeah, we just discovered her case. Actually, the person who really made the first connection was, I'm not sure if it was Detective Summers, what his name was, but the original police file that I found in the genesis of Wendy coming to be was very simple. I saw the sketch in the Loria files on People vs. David Berkowitz of a man who looked exactly like David Berkowitz. And the sketch was dated May of '76. So I immediately shit-canned it because Berkowitz didn't have a victim that early. Didn't think about it. Then when Lorenzo and I started to posit that he had more victims, I went back to that sketch showed it to Lorenzo, who agreed that it was close enough to Berkowitz that it was actionable. Then he found the DD5 in Loria's file that a detective in 76, when Donna Loria was shot, thought that Wendy's case was connected to Loria's. And so Lorenzo found the New York Times article. I had no idea that this was such a big story when it happened in 76, Wendy's shooting. He found the file, the New York Times article, as I walk up this big hill. Then the file, the newspaper article said, "The Smiling Gunman." And as soon as I read that, I was convinced that we were talking, that it was Berkowitz, because it was the same MO. Guy shooting a woman in a parked car through the window late at night in the area of the Bronx where Berkowitz not only lived very close, but did the Loria shooting within a mile and a half of that shooting. He lived within a mile of there. He went to high school 3/4 of a mile away from the Savino shooting. He grew up in Co-op City, which was a mile or two away. It was his neighborhood. And then I realized that he did it on April 9th, the day after he angrily left the Cassara house. Oh, he left on the 4th. Even if he left on the 4th, he was still angry on the 8th, because everybody agrees he went on April 8th to pick up the rest of his stuff from the Cassaras. And if you listen to the Cassara tapes, of which I did a video on well over a year ago, so I'm well versed in those tapes. Nino wants to say, oh, I listened to his broadcast, so therefore I knew about Cassara. No, dude, I was through with it before you knew what to do with it. I did a show. You don't realize that I did a walk and talk in front of the Cassara house a year and a half ago. So Cassara said that when he came to pick up his stuff on the 8th, he didn't talk to them. So it leads me to believe that he was still angry, which is not too hard to understand if you know Berkowitz's psychology. And so all of those things put together made me realize that we were dealing with the first Son of Sam shooting. So then Lorenzo found Wendy's number. I called her, left a message saying, I know this is crazy. I know that this is coming out of the blue after 50 years. But I was just looking into the details of your shooting, and I know it's unsolved, but I'm working with a detective, and I know that this sounds nuts, Mrs. Savino, but we think that David Berkowitz, the Son of Sam, did your shooting. And 3 days later, she calls me back, and she said, David Berkowitz shot me. And the feeling, I will never forget that feeling as long as I live. And, oh, Manny, you manipulated her into saying it. No, she's been saying it since 1977, you dummies. You absolute mouth-breathing moral reprobates who think that I manipulated this story. You fools. She's been saying it since 77. And even this dummy Rena, who's so terminally illiterate, oh, for a sketch that's been in her purse since 1977, it's in remarkably great shape. You troglodyte. She's constantly made copies over the years. You could even see it in the picture that you showed, that it's a copy. God, these people are dumb. Can someone talk me out of doing these videos? Like, why am I talking about these people? Ricardo Suave said, they said Burke didn't smile. I've seen him a dozen times. D. Cavalli about Ace's grave. I'll answer that in a second. Yeah, that's what he does. He smiles. Ricardo Suave says he's literally smiling in multiple angles of his arrest photos. Maria del Carmen says, as the narcissist that he is, Burke held grudges. Absolutely. Okay, so D. Cavalli, what's the location of Ace Frehley's grave? Well, I give it to you in the Ace Frehley video. So if you really want pinpointed directions, you could watch that. But for those of you who just want me to tell you now, all right, so you go into Woodlawn Cemetery from the Jerome Avenue entrance. Then you turn left and you go on North Border Avenue or Drive until you come to the end where it intersects with, no, I'm sorry, let me go back. You go into Jerome Avenue, then you turn left and you go on West Border Avenue. Okay, that's a north-south road that traverses the gate of Jerome Avenue inside Woodlawn Cemetery. Then you come to the end where 233rd Street is, and you'll see these mausoleums called the Garden Conservancy Mausoleums. You walk in through the main entrance, and you'll see that on my video. Then you'll see in the distance a big statue of an angel. When you get to that statue of the angel, you walk to the left, and then you immediately walk to the right, and Ace Frehley's mausoleum crypt is right there. You know, I'm surprised that out of 5.4 or 5,000 people that watched that video so far, I've only gotten a handful of angry messages, and I'm not deleting any of them. I'm just keeping them up. I'm not making the mistake of deleting assholes anymore, because they're not assholes. First of all, they're not saying anything about me personally. Oh, Manny deletes comments on his Son of Sam stuff. Yeah, only from jagoffs who call me a processed plant or a Jew or Louisa or make fun of me personally. That's who I block. But on the Ace Frehley video, there have been a few people who called me a ghoul, who said I shouldn't have said anything, I shouldn't have shown his gravesite. And listen, I can understand their feelings. That's why I didn't delete them and I engaged with them. And my attitude was, someone was going to do it. It might as well be me. These things aren't going to stay secret forever. And I knew it was a popular subject. So I went out there and I did the video. I had the time to do it. I'm in near the Woodlawn Cemetery. While I was in Puerto Rico, I was going, oh man, someone's going to find that grave. I wish I could fly back just to do a video on that. Someone's going to find it. And no one went out there and found it. So yeah, we were the first at Grossman Files, and so that was a kind of a cool discovery. I love cemeteries, and although I wasn't a huge Kiss fan, I did have a lot of respect for Ace Frehley personally. For some reason, I have a lot of sympathy for the guy. I don't know what it is. I just feel sympathetic towards him more than anything else. Who was your favorite rock band, Manny? It's hard to say, but I'd have to say overall, Rush is my favorite. Do you believe Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior? No, I don't. I don't hate Jesus or love Jesus. I don't give a shit about Jesus personally. I'm just not a religious guy in general. And even if I was, I'm bar mitzvahed, so I would have to be into Adonai, who I couldn't give half a shit less about either. No offense. What happened to your red tint aviators? I don't know which ones you're talking about, but while I was in Puerto Rico, I got these new glasses, and I got a pair of blue Ray-Ban prescriptions, which I wore in Is Berkey By, my live stream from yesterday, which looked super cool, and I love them. I just got a haircut today. It's hard to tell, but since I'm starting a new endeavor on Monday, I wanted my hair to, it was like 2 feet long. It was crazy long. So I wanted to, it wasn't quite that long, but it was pretty freaking long. Maria del Carmen will attest to that. She saw me about a little less than 2 weeks ago now in Puerto Rico. And so I wanted to get some length taken off, get some layers put in, get some bangs thrown in there. And so, yeah, so basically that's all I really have to say. I mean, it didn't turn into much of an AMA about Son of Sam, so much as it did just talking about general rants and getting things off my chest. I can't believe that these people like Rena and Neo and Eric Galati are still living in like 2022, where they're still not only still trying to convince people that Berkowitz acted alone and having these discussions and shows that quite literally I did 3 years ago now, but they're sitting and obsessing about me and what I'm doing. They don't realize all that's doing, guys, is giving me more power. I don't want that power. I don't even think I particularly deserve that power. But when you're obsessing over me and you're making your entire life in your reaction videos to everything that I say, you don't look good doing that. It's just not a good look. I'll talk about you now because this is going to be basically my last live stream for quite a while. I just couldn't believe I got these emails from Galati. And yeah, I could keep them secret. And there's a lot that I have kept secret over the years about my interactions with these people and stupid emails that I constantly get from Chris Claw threatening lawsuits and the dumb blogs that she writes about how my father was influential with the police department, so somehow that got me preferential treatment. I mean, just making stuff up as you go along is not a good methodology. But Rena and Neo, I understand you need my name to get views. I get it. I've piggybacked off of people's success too, right? It's something that we all do every now and then. But try to bring something new to the table. Your show on Jack the Ripper wasn't bad, I got to admit. I watched a little bit of it, and Rena made some good comparisons of the Son of Sam letters to the Jack the Ripper letters that I had already made. I never did a show on it, but I made those connections several years ago. Just in my mind, it was something that I noticed, and so I'll give her some love. Rena, keep doing shows like that. Keep comparing Son of Sam's letters. Like, you believe he acted alone. You won't give me any credit for that belief. You give it all to Neo, even though it's only because of me people change their attitude on this. But listen, I get it. You hate me. So therefore, I either don't exist or everything that I do is shit or not to be talked about or analyzed. I get it. I understand the psychology. It's basic kindergarten psychology level stuff. But keep on doing those shows. I have to say, like, I didn't watch the whole thing because it gets kind of tedious watching stuff that I did in my own mind a couple of years ago. But that was good for the layman. I suggest you keep that up. Keep doing that type of stuff. I know you need the views, so you react to my videos. I understand that psychology. But eventually that's going to get old. I mean, it already has. And really, nobody really cares at all anyway. But I suggest you keep on doing stuff like comparing Jack the Ripper, do Zodiac, even though Lorenzo and I did a Zodiac video comparing Son of Sam to Zodiac about two and a half years ago. It's already up to, I think, over 8,000 views by now. One of the now legendary videos that Lorenzo did, whiteboarded. Keep doing stuff like that. Keep on analyzing the apartment letters. Maybe you can watch some of my stuff. You didn't catch everything. Maybe you can watch some of my old videos that I did 2 years ago on the same topic. I did shows on the apartment wall scrawls. Maybe you want to copy that as well. Bring it to your audience and pretend that it's new. You could all marvel about how I didn't know this or tell my audience this, even though I did shows on this years ago. I mean, what's up, John James? How you doing? Let me go in my car while I end this stream. And so I suggest keep on doing stuff like that. Neo, you brought the Serlac-Sarassi reports to the mainstream. Congratulations. They were a book report, essentially. They didn't really add anything to the mix. But they were cool for what they were when you got them. So do shows on that. You know, I'm a top producer giving you advice. You should listen. And what I would suggest, though, is beware of Galati. He's a snake in the grass. Are you aware that he's emailing me, asking us all to get together, telling me that I have to come together to defend Maximilian Häusler against Chris Claus if that's my job in this world? As if I care if Maximilian Häusler gets fired from his corporate job. I couldn't care less. I don't want him to get fired. But if Chris Claus succeeds in getting him fired, I don't give a shit. That's his problem, not mine. The guy is another person who is a backstabber and an ignorer of truth, and he never has anything good to say about me. So I don't owe any of you guys loyalty. So enjoy each other's company. Rena, Eric, Neo. It's a gas watching you guys. Chris Claw, continue writing your cease and desist letters. Keep doing your shows with Esoteric Atlanta where you sound medicated to the hilt. And that absolute troglodytic moron, Bryce Watson, who calls me a controlled opposition plant of the New World Order, who is put in there by the powers that be. I mean, this is the mentality you're dealing with. A dude from the Bronx who has zero connections to anything, who did one thing in life in terms of getting some success, albeit limited, with Son of Sam. So much so that I got into a Netflix documentary, which am not crowing about. It came, it went, didn't add anything to my life appreciably one way or the other. It was cool to do. I'm glad. I'd rather have that under my belt than not have it under my belt. But you guys are going crazy for me when I don't have any juice, power, or anything. I'm just a dude talking. I happen to have viewers who enjoy watching my stuff. I can't help that. That's just the way it goes. So, yeah, yeah. So anyway, I hope these people take my advice that they should just get back to the case, talking about stuff that I did a couple years ago, pretending that they're doing it new. I mean, that's fine if they have those delusions. But the other delusions about me stealing Neo's work and reading his book and being scared to go into the Neto's attic, and that the Neto family hates me, and that I got fired from NYBG for complaining about the lawn, and that I was rude to the Neto family, and how all the cops hate me in Yonkers, and how everybody hated me in Yonkers. That stuff is not going to get you very far. I mean, you know, far be it from me to tell you how to live, but that really is not going to help you. All right, guys. Well, I think that's basically all I have to say. Got to go walk a dog now. And so, yeah. So chances are, I'm not going to say you're not going to see me, because even though I start a new endeavor on Monday and I'm going to be extremely busy and not so inclined to do walk and talks, I still have a few things that I want to get to, but we're going to wait until my good equipment comes back so I can bring it to you in full HD with stabilization so it looks cinematic. I got a killer interview coming up that's going to be in mid-December towards January. I've been teasing it for a while now. That's going to be a blockbuster. Not only is it a poignant story about Son of Sam, but it's also going to be Billy the Artist level debunking of another person on who Maury Terry blamed for being in the cult, who has some things to say about that. And then I'll hit the Bronx Sniper area where we will speculate about Berkowitz being the Bronx Sniper again. Again, I'm allowed to speculate. It's just something that I enjoy doing as a true crime fan. Let's see if anybody else is saying anything before I go. No, that's basically it. All right, guys. Well, listen, stay cool. I really appreciate every one of you who has stuck with me all these years. We're not done yet. We still got some things to do. Clearly, people enjoy the impromptu live streams. So I'll continue doing that as well as we go forward. But things are going to start slowing down. I'm just taking advantage of it while I can, while I still have my last week of freedom. Oh, God, I wish I was on my farm in Puerto Rico. So anyway, all right, guys, take care. We'll talk to you another time. Bye.